Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure you recognize this road if you watched any of my previous videos, and pretty sure you know that I'm heading to the movies. We've arrived at the Grand 18 here in D'Iberville, Mississippi. I'm excited. I don't know what to expect, but hopefully it's not like Passion of the Christ where I'm sitting in there bawling my eyes out for hours. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. Okay, so guys, man, I'm back. Just finished watching Noah, and what do you know? It started raining while we're inside the theater, okay? That is crazy. Yeah, I mean, we're going to see a flood movie, and it's raining outside. We're going to see a flood movie, and it starts raining, you know? So it was kind of cool, man. I love the movie. I hope that you guys get an opportunity to see it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had an opportunity to watch Noah, stop listening now. Major spoilers, here we go. I'm going to attempt, and this is my 22nd time trying to record this podcast. I'm trying to attempt to wrap my head around and to wrap your head around this movie. First off, it's not a biblical representation of Noah. It's not a Christian biblical representation of Noah. This is a flood event movie. It is a sci-fi movie. It is borderline superhero movie. It's an origin story movie. It sets up a sequel. It's something that you should witness if you are a person of faith. If you believe in any type of deity, any type of God, if you have a religion, if you have a faith, if you have a opinion about these matters, you should watch this movie. It starts out with the beginning, man, and the beginning of creation. And then it shows you Adam and Eve. It shows you the snake turning into the serpent. It shows you the falling angels, which are called the Nephilim, but it switches the word and it calls them now the Watchers. So it kind of picks and chooses from different, I'm not going to say books, but different scripture. From Christianity to Judaism, from Islam to the Book of Mormon, Jehovah's Witness to the Bhagavad Gita. It goes through so many different religions, man, and it's really an amazing piece of work, man. I cannot say more positive things about this movie, because the one thing that I think its purpose is to kind of renew your faith a little bit, and not to be, and not in a preachy type way. At the end of the movie, it says, be faithful and multiply. That is the purpose of existence. That is the sole purpose of our existence now, after the flood. And the flood itself was, I've never seen anything like this on film, man. And here's what I loved about it the most, is because, you know, for me, as a believer of Christ, and as a believer of the Bible being the living true word of God, this was a way for a tool for anyone out there that wants to kind of share their faith, man. For the first time in cinematic history, we understand or can kind of get a better understanding of the events of the flood, the events of the Garden of Eden, the events that took place after the flood, the reasoning behind it, a kind of in-depth look into what could have possibly happened to cause the creator, that they call him, you know, they call God the creator here in Noah, the creator to flood the earth, okay? They did an amazing job with that, man. They showed how like cannibalism and meat eaters and I mean, just crazy stuff, man. You know, they showed it all, man. Ripping the flesh from those animals that have the hoof Okay, they showed you so much biblical reference stuff or faith-based stuff in there that you'll have to probably watch it a couple of times, man. You should definitely get the Blu-ray, the DVD, because there's so many. I mean, it goes on so many different levels, man. My favorite part of it would probably have to be the Watchers, man. The Watchers were kind of like a Lord of the Rings type event. They were the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbits, where they had those rock creatures. They were kind of like the same exact thing as those, man. But they were fallen angels, and their whole purpose was kind of to defend mankind. I'm not gonna lie, man. They did kind of go into the blaming the woman again, and the woman not trusting the creator, and I was kind of disappointed on that. That's why I couldn't give it a 10 out of 10 star, because we continue to blame, and this is being real and honest, man. I understand, this is not a real take on the Bible or any type of religious type scripture, if you will. It's just an adaptation. But they could have done a little bit better, man, as far as to empower women, and even with Noah, with his doubts and all that stuff, man. It's kind of tough. That was kind of tough to get through, man. But I still overall enjoyed myself, man, because, I've always wanted to see what Methuselah looks like. I've always had, these ideas and these concepts in my mind, but Anthony Hopkins killed it, man. And, what's kind of crazy and what's kind of, strange about it is that Methuselah was like this comedic relief for the movie. It was, I didn't see that coming, man. I thought Methuselah would be definitely a lot more serious, because of the wisdom and how old Methuselah is. That was kind of different, man. I didn't see it coming. I'm not gonna lie about that. I didn't see it coming at all. And Emma Watson, man, she definitely, this was her movie, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now. Russell Crowe. I mean, we're talking about Russell Crowe, man, but obviously he did a great job. But we're talking about Emma Watson. She delivered. Like, you felt the pain when she was giving birth. You felt every emotion from her, man. It was. I was like, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know she can act, but I was just like, that. I wasn't expecting that. I thought you would have like a small role maybe, but no. I mean, it was Emma Watson, Russell Crowe, and I would say Percy Jackson, man. Those were the guys that pretty much the whole movie was kind of based around. And then also with Ray Winstone, that played Cain. That was kind. It was very interesting, man. I'm kind of just talking about the movie because it's very hard to describe. Like I said, it's. I mean, it's easy to describe the Bible, but it's very hard to describe this movie for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why it's so hard, but it is. It's just something different, man. It's something different. Now, as far as the rewatchability factor of Noah, it's very low. I would say probably about a 2 out of 5. And the reason why I'm not going to put it on a 10 scale, because there's just no reason behind that, man. You want to go watch this movie, especially when you get on DVD and Blu-ray, you're probably going to fast forward until you see the Garden of Eden, the creation of humanity, the epic flood scene, the Watchers, and that's pretty much about it. Everything else in the movie is just like, whatever. I don't really need to see all that stuff. And I liked how they went and they talked about the Ham and the Cain. I like how the relationship between that was really, really good, man. And people that read the Bible and this stuff and understand that was definitely good, man. A lot of things. I think that they showed Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm pretty sure that they did. I don't know if it was Sodom and Gomorrah, but the town did get burned. I just don't know if that was Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't know, but there was a scene inside of Noah where a town gets burned because of their actions. And that was powerful, man. That was powerful because of how violently, the flames took over everyone inside of the city, man. The whole message of the movie, is love. That was the whole entire message of the movie, man. And the end of it all, it's love. That's pretty much it, man. It's kind of hard to describe. Like I said, man, I know that this is probably the worst podcast review that I've ever done on a movie, but it's so strange. I just had to tell people, man, go out and see it, because they explain everything perfectly, man. The animals, they get put to sleep by magic and medicine. I've always wondered that, how did all those 2x2s, how did the animals come on the ark 2x2? How would there would be so much noise it would shatter your eardrums? Well, the animals weren't awake, man. They weren't awake on the flood, man. That's how they explain it. And it's kind of cool because like you can actually talk. This opens up conversations, man, for people about faith, man. It's a perfect explanation. They used medicine. They used magic, if you will, man. And that's how they did it. And Methuselah, when I say magic, I'm talking about like old magic, old Egyptian magic. How do you want to say it? Wise men magic. That's what I'm talking about. Magi magic, stuff like that. That's what I'm kind of referring to when I say that. It's not like magic as in sorcery or something like that. It's just grounded in reality, like nature-based magic, magical, spices, herbs, stuff like that, man. They use all that stuff, and it was really, really cool, man. The creation of new life, man, once they used the Garden of Eden scene was my favorite scene. It was like so crazy, man. And how the water comes from the heaven, and that's one of the things that I was like, okay, are they going to cover this or not? And they did, man. And the water, it burst up so fast, man. It was breaking open the earth and shooting out, man, into the sky, and that's how it all filled up. So it was so fast, man, but it was so violent. That's what I really liked about it too, because they didn't shy away from that. It was violent, man. It was death. It was murder. It was chaos, man. It was madness. That's what it was, man. And I really appreciate this movie, man. Every single person did a great job, though, man. Russell Crowe, man. Jennifer Connelly, Ray Winston, man. Anthony Hopkins, Emma Watson, man. Logan Lerman, man. Douglas Booth, Nick Nolte, man. The dude that was off of Revenge is on there, man. I forgot his name, but he's on there, man. Kevin Durant, it was great, man. Everybody. Every single person, man. Now, what's kind of cool, man, is if you go home and you actually start rereading Genesis, or read Genesis for the first time if you haven't read Genesis, you can actually start putting some things together, man, that you didn't know before, man. Now, here's what's important. If you're trying to go Bible versus Noah, you're going to need a lot more books if you don't have them. You're going to need the Holy Bible. You're going to need the Quran. You're going to need the Book of Mormon. You're going to need the Jehovah's Witness book. You're going to need a lot of different books of Christianity and Judaism to kind of understand this and everything that you've seen inside of there. I'll end with this, man. It's a 8.5 out of 10 star film. I would definitely go see it if it was. I wouldn't pay any more than probably $15 for this film, though. I would say that, though, because it's long, man. It's really long, and it's not Passion of the Christ long. It's just this. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm kind of trying to say in the end. Is like it's not a biblical film. It's just a sci-fi film. So if you're going into it thinking that it's going to be like a Jesus-y type film, Christian film, it's not that, man. It's not. I'm just going to be real with you. It's not that. But that's why I when I gave my rating, I'm rating it just because of cinema. I'm not rating it because of anything else. It's just about cinema. It's just about how well this movie played inside of the theaters, man. How well did I feel when I was watching it? It has nothing to do with God, because they didn't use God inside of the movie. It's called the Creator. He's not called God. They didn't use a lot of stuff from what we're used to, man. They didn't. It's crazy. Once again, man, the last thing, man, and I gotta get out of here. The Garden of Eden scene was awesome because they used no races, they used no nationalities, they used just gender. They didn't put hair on Eve. They didn't put hair on Adam. They didn't put any type of features that would try to portray Adam and Eve as white, black, blue, purple, brown, yellow, whatever, you know? And what was the last thing? The ending of the movie, when they used the rainbow, that was absolutely perfection, because inside of the Bible, that's what it talks about with the rainbow. And that's how God is, man. There's a rainbow over God's head, man. So to bring that back out, man, it's just because the rainbow is one of the most amazing things that you've ever seen. I don't know if you've never seen a rainbow. I don't know, man. I don't even know how to create a rainbow besides, you know, like with the water and stuff like that. But I'm saying, like, I don't know, man. You gotta wait till it rains, and then right after it rains, just look up, and hopefully the light is shining in a particular way, and you'll get to see that rainbow, and you just look up there and be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Because it shouldn't happen, but it's there. So, okay, that's my rainbow rant, but yeah, yeah, they did that at the end of the movie, and it was perfect, man. I really, really enjoyed it, man. I really did. Yeah, I'm out of here, guys. I went way over time, and I've had like 15 of these things, trying to record them, but this is like the 26th time I've tried to do this. I don't know. It's been a long time, but I think I got through that one successfully. Let me know what you thought. If you saw Noah, will you be getting the comic book? Will you be getting the movie or the novel? And will you get the movie, you know, when it comes out? Let me know. Yeah, I think that went pretty good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hey, we're back talking about Noah, the brand new movie that is out tomorrow, or by the time you listen to this will be tomorrow, which is March 28th, 2014. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch that movie, stop listening now, major spoilers, here we go. What I enjoy the most about Noah is it was an adventure. And this was on the same level, on the same scale as Man of Steel, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I laughed, almost cried, but they didn't get me, so thank you. Usually when I go see these Jesus-type movies or these religious-based movies, I shed tears. I remember going to watch Passion of the Christ, and I said to myself, after I watched that movie, I said, I will never watch another Christian movie in public because I bawled my eyes out. And I said it was just so uncomfortable for me as a man that I'm not going to do it again. And then all of a sudden, they come out with this Noah movie, and I'm like, whoa, what? This is Noah? The Noah that I know doesn't have fire, and the Noah that I know doesn't have magical powers where he, you know, throws down a sword and fire comes out. The Noah that I know doesn't have creatures. Yeah, this isn't my Noah, so I'm in. And I went there, and I sat down, and I started watching this thing, and it just plays almost like a children's storybook and also a comic book. Every single scene there, it's broken down in, I'd say, probably 3 or 4 parts, and it's so perfect, man, in telling the story that, you know, people of faith, people that have heard this story. I mean, I don't care who you are, you've heard about the flood. No matter if you were a Martian, you know, Martian Manhunter, you would know about this flood. It's a extinction level event that occurred here on Earth, and it's written about in every single language. Okay, so you've heard of it. You've heard of it as a kid growing up. You've heard maybe tall tales about it. Someone has told you about Noah, and if you haven't heard about Noah, then you've heard this song: "Who built the ark? Noah, Noah. Who built the ark? Brother Noah built the ark." Okay. And we know that song. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that song, okay? And anyways, getting into it, it takes you back, for me at least, it took me back to my childhood. I was just remembering all these stories, man, about Cain and about Abel and about the Garden of Eden and about casting lots. And I remember a drunken Noah. I remember all this stuff. It started coming back, and they cover it perfectly, man. Now, what I will say is that they did leave a lot of stuff out, and I think that's a good thing, because they didn't really mess with the Bible. You know, they left the Bible alone. Okay, this is one of those stories in the Bibles that, depending on who you are and what you believe, depending on that, it kind of depends on how you're going to feel about all that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? It depends on if you're going to believe or not. Well, with the situation with the situation with Noah, man, is they present the material inside of a way that is believable. Like, you know, I mean, obviously I'm talking about the Bible. The Bible is the word of God. I mean, I believe in that. I know that as to be truth. But for people that don't know the truth and I guess haven't accepted that as truth, or they might have a different version of it, they can still go to this movie and watch it and enjoy it. That's what I love the most about this movie. It didn't really push, I don't know if we want to call it an agenda, but I guess we can kind of say that since we're inside of, you know, today's terminology, that when we talk about religion and conspiracy theories and all that good stuff, okay? It came there with a purpose. The purpose was to tell the story of Noah, his family, the flood, and how creation came about and what happened after the flood. And it did that. And to be honest, man, it set this thing up to where it could possibly be a sequel. And I would look forward to seeing that. I would spend, I don't know, a few $100s on a ticket to go see it because it was so beautiful, man. It was absolutely stunning. And whoever this guy is, man, I got to go online and look up his name and stuff. But, because I don't want to say it the wrong way and I don't want to quote the wrong person. I don't know who made this movie. I just went because of Russell Crowe and Anthony Hopkins and Emma Watson. That's who I went for. And, I was blown away, man. Their performances were amazing. Every single person that was cast in this movie, of course, I would like to see a more diverse cast, but we're not going to get into that right now. I think that they could have done a more diverse cast, but what they gave us and who they got to be in this movie, I think they did an amazing job. I think that there needs to be credit given to these guys because they did something that hasn't been done in a long time, and that is to take an idea that people enjoy and love and create something new without going back and rehashing old stuff. It's a brand new story. If you've ever seen some of the old school Noah movies, if you've ever seen even some of the parodies, they didn't touch any of that stuff. They steered clear of it and they told a story that is, I mean, it's just refreshing, man. What it will do is, what Noah will do for you, I don't know if it will do for you, but what it did for me, because I want to speak in my terms, it renewed my faith, man. It let me know, first off, I got to get back into the Bible myself because, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I'm watching this movie, I knew what was the truth, what wasn't the truth. But it kind of made me want to go back and read those stories again and get to know those people again that I love and that I cherish, okay? And it also made me fall in love with cinema again, you know? And what I mean by that is that you know, a big budget Hollywood blockbuster film is still possible in this world that is just so dependent upon, you know, CGI and special effects and stuff like that, you know. And what was so beautiful, they blended the real and the fake perfectly, man. Like, I can't wait to get this movie on Blu-ray because I would love to kind of just show people a perfect example of what Genesis looked like, what the beginning of creation looked like, what, you know, what it would, I guess how you want to say, what it would look like if God actually created, or if that was kind of cool, man. And it was kind of interesting is that they actually went to the Garden of Eden. And I don't know, I haven't seen that done that way. And here's what I mean by that. They went into the Garden of Eden. They did not use a certain race. They used just the gender, the male and the female, and they didn't use and I just absolutely, I love this, and I have to talk about this just for a minute. They didn't use any type of image, man, you know, and I thought that was just absolute genius, man, and I really did appreciate that, man, because nowadays, man, especially, I mean, you think about how long film has been, how long we've been going through this whole thing called film, this cinema, and going in Hollywood and going to the movies and stuff. There hasn't been a film created that doesn't try to depict God's creation as a certain race, man. And they steered clear of that, you know. And I'm telling you, man, I really love this movie, man. I can't stop talking about it. You know, and I'm going to go buy the comic book. I'm going to go buy the book that goes with it. And hopefully that's not like the Bible. Hopefully that's like an adaptation of, you know, of the book. And, you know, hopefully we'll see what happens. I don't really want to talk too much more about the movie in that sense, but I will say that seeing the animals come two by two, seeing Noah and his family and how they could have possibly dealt with, you know, I guess a mutiny on their hands, if you will, you know, where people wanted that ark, you know, and I loved how whenever it's nothing, or how something was created out of nothing, and those rivers that spread across the land from that one source, I thought that was just genius, man, because that's how I envisioned, you know, the Garden of Eden. That's how I envisioned the creation during, you know, that time to create the flood. I really, oh my gosh, man, they just did a really good job on that, man. And what they did is they tied everything back together, you know what I'm saying, from Genesis, you know, all the way until Noah. They tied it back together through one seed, you know, when you plant, and it was all about planting a seed. You know, you plant a seed, and then when you drink of the water, you know, great things happen, you know, and you'll have a new understanding. And I'm telling you, man, there's so much I could talk about this movie, man. I don't want to go too much detail about it, because I'll get preachy on you guys, and then we'll be sitting here having a sermon. I'll tell you to open your Bibles up to, you know, Genesis chapter 6, verse 14, and we'll start reading right from there, okay? But I don't want to do that, all right? I just want to talk about a great movie, man, and that's what it is. It's a great movie experience. Hopefully you guys get an opportunity to go see it. My movie started at 7 o'clock. It ended at 9:35. I stayed through about half of the credits, man, but then after that I got up because one of the cleaning guys was just looking at me pretty mad. He was like, yo, get up out of here, man. I got to do my job, so I had to get out of there. I will have some music uploading for Noah, and I'm buying the soundtrack. I'll go ahead and say that now. The soundtrack is kind of cool. Let's talk about that just for another minute. The soundtrack is like, whenever God speaks or something, you know, godly is about to happen or spiritual is about to happen, it's like, it's kind of this weird organ music. It's so, I mean, it's so crazy. It's just, and I know Clint Marshall, I believe his name is, man. He's the one that did the soundtrack, and I have that in the description box, man. Links to all his stuff, man. If you ever seen The Fountain, I believe he did The Fountain, and that movie was just crazy, man. It's crazy good. It's almost like watching Noah, to be honestly. And let me talk one last thing, 15 seconds. Noah's beard, his hair, and how they changed that, and his relationship with his kids. It was really awesome. And I think that, you know, people will enjoy this film if they give it an opportunity, man. 8.5 out of 10 stars. That's the final rating that I'm going to give it, and I really enjoyed it, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this weird, strange podcast. Very strange. But anyway, we're out of here. Thanks again for listening.